Last week, I went through a crazy family emergency where I spent the entire week in and out of the hospital taking care of people. And it was during one of our biggest client meetings for a brand new client that I was really excited about. And my team crushed it without me. And that week taught me more about leadership than any book, any system, or any strategy ever has. I want to welcome you guys to Unearth with Shelly Hughes. I'm Shelly Hughes. In this podcast, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship. We talk about the wins, the losses, and most importantly, lessons learned about what it means to build a profitable, confident, passionate brand. In this episode, I want to kind of paint the picture of what the past week or so looked like. We already had a kickoff with this client, but it was a really big client. So I want to paint the picture. This was a brand new client and it was a big one. We already did a kickoff with this client, but this was one of the big kind of onboarding, stakeholder interview, full day meetings that we have with this brand new client. And suddenly a family emergency hits. I was in the hospital. I was moving into, my family member's home to support them. I was exhausted. I was emotional. Felt like I was torn between a few different things. And, crazy stuff happens to everyone, right? And, when you have a 9 to 5, you probably have, FMLA and you have all these things. You have like time off, right? And as an entrepreneur, at least for me, I always am so concerned to make sure that my team has everything that they need to do their jobs well. I feel like above all, my team is my number one. And many times when I go on vacation, we prep, we're good, we have our systems in place, we have everything we need, we go over what they're going to be doing the next week, just not for micromanaging in any way, just to make sure they feel good about me going away. But this family emergency happened and I just couldn't work. It was like in 24 hours, everything really changed. And I was planning on going to this event, this big full day meeting for this brand new client. I was really excited about it. And someone on my team just said, Shelly, we got this. You hired us for a reason and you hired us to do this job. And guess what? You have trained us for not just months, but years to do this job really, really well. And I truly believe you can't claim to lead a values-based business if everything falls apart when you're not there. And I want to talk about the real stress of leadership for a second. And I made some notes because I was really thinking about what this past week looked like for me. A lot of times in leadership, you're not stressed because the volume of work. You're stressed because the lack of support and clarity, many times. Right? The fear isn't about losing control. It's about whether you've equipped your team to do such a great job at the level you expect without you. And I often feel that the tension that leaders feel is about, you're thinking, yes, I trust them, but do they have what they need to succeed? Right. And I think that's where real leadership kicks in, and you don't even realize you're doing it until all of a sudden you can't show up to work for a week and you just have to hope everything's going well, because it proves to me that no system, no process, no SOP or training or whatever can compare to when your team is kind of going out on their own and having to make ideas on the fly, making sure your values and your priorities are so front and center every single day in your business that they're able to make decisions without you on the fly based on those values. I tell my team all the time, I'm a broken record. Yeah, maybe there are things that I might have done differently than them or something like that, but it's very rare that my team doesn't know what I'm already thinking. And I think it's a good thing. You don't, as a leader, you don't want to be changing priority and changing how you do things and changing how you think about things. If you're so focused on what you're doing and how you do it and how you do it better than anyone else, you shouldn't need an SOP, because what SOPs do, and I understand the value of them, but what SOPs do is make it so your team doesn't have to think. You've already thought for them of how you are execute this project. But what really I feel like is the magic is when there's no SOP for something, but your team just understands your values and the values of the company, and truly to the bottom of the heart what the company prioritizes, they're able to act on a whim in a way that you probably would as well, in such a way that you couldn't have done it better yourself, because they acted not based on an SOP, they acted based on a level of value. So this week really redefined leadership for me. And what I realized was being a strong leader doesn't mean being indispensable, right? It means being replicable. It means being but at the same time, letting people show up in their best, in making sure they can add their secret sauce to it, because they probably do a lot of this stuff better than you do. But it's real leadership, I believe, is transferring belief, not just responsibility or an SOP. So, and in the long run, as a leader, your goal isn't to run everything. And if your goal is to run everything, you might as well just get a job. My goal is to build a business where people can run it without me here. Because if not, business leaders would never take vacation. So I believe that culture and not really control is what keeps businesses standing when life really hits hard and when it's really unpredictable. And I just want to thank my team this week for telling me to step back, telling me that I didn't have to go to this meeting, that they got this, that I've trained them for so long, even when I don't think that I did, to understand the beliefs that we have and the philosophy we have, that it's so ingrained in them that they just could take it and run with it. And it just made me so much more confident in everything else that they do. So I wanted to kind of put that out there into the world, because I learned a lot about leadership this past week, and I'm just so proud of myself. I'm so proud of my team. And I'm glad that we're able to have conversations like this that really talks about kind of the softness that leadership can bring, and not this strong, get shit done kind of mentality. Because I think it's really powerful to talk that way. But thanks, guys. This was a really short one, but I think it was one that I was excited to talk about. And I hope you like it. Please send it to a friend. If it resonated with you, give me a thumbs up. And I will talk to you next week.